So hello my dear students, once again welcome to your physics online class. Today we will be continuing with the fourth chapter of your physics textbook, that is the refraction of light. And today we will be discussing about few of the topics like the real depth, the apparent depth, the critical angle and the total internal reflection. So let us begin with what is the real depth and the apparent depth. So all of you must have been in a swimming pool or at least in a clear river water. So whenever we are inside a river water or inside a swimming pool, and when we look at our feet, okay, we see that our feet looks shorter than what they actually are. In the same way, if you observe your book, the text written on your book through a paper weight or a glass slab, you will see that the alphabets or the words, it appears to raise upward. Okay, so whatever is the actual depth, that is known as the real depth, and whatever appears when viewed from the other medium is known as the apparent depth. So you will be asked to draw the bending of the stick in a water or the rising of a coin when viewed under a water. Okay, so let us try to draw the diagram. Why does the swimming pool or the river, it appears shallower than its real depth? So what do? I draw the medium separating, a line separating the two medium. So let this be the air and let this be the water. So this is the actual stick that is immersed in a water. Okay, so when you are viewing it from the point A, okay, so what happens? So the two rays, it passes from a denser to the rarer medium. Okay, so we know that whenever a ray of light, it passes from a denser to rarer, instead of going in a straight line, it appears to bend away from the normal. So similarly, the other ray also, instead of going in a straight line, it appears to bend away from the normal. Okay, so when the observer is at point A, okay, and when he is viewing from this point, so what will he see? He will see that these two rays of light are coming from some other point inside the water. Okay, so and then here we make the stick. Okay, so he sees that the base of the stick, which was actually at the depth x, now is at a depth y. Okay, so now we see that the stick, it appears to bend when viewed from the air towards the water. Okay, so now this is the real depth, okay, given by d, and the apparent depth is at the depth x, okay, which is given by r. So this is why the stick appears to bend, or this is why, like whenever something is viewed under the water, it appears to rise upward. Okay, so now if I consider the refractive index of water with respect to air is the refractive index of water with respect to air, and then if r is the real depth and a is the apparent depth, so there exists a relationship between the refractive index, the real depth and the apparent depth. Okay, so the derivation is not included in a syllabus and you can directly remember it as a formula. So I can write that the refractive index of water with respect to air will be equal to, it is the real depth divided by the apparent depth. Okay, so if I write in terms of symbol, I get the refractive index of water with respect to air is equals to r divided by the a, or simply I can write the apparent depth will be equals to the real depth divided by the refractive index of water with respect to air. So using this formula, we can easily calculate the apparent depth knowing the real depth and the refractive index of a given medium. Now the another important term is shift. So what is shift now? The shift is the distance by which the object is raised upward. So here the shift is this one, that is the real depth minus the apparent depth is known as the shift. Okay, so if you are asked to find the shift, okay, simply you can remember this formula to find the shift, which tells us that shift is equal to real depth minus bracket 1 minus 1 divided by the refractive index of water with respect to air. Okay, so this formula gives you the shift. So there are two formulas which you have to remember to solve some of the numericals, that is number 1, which gives the relationship between the apparent depth, the real depth and the refractive index of the medium, and the second formula is the shift, which is equals to real depth minus bracket 1 minus 1 divided by the refractive index of the medium with respect to the other medium. Here in this case it is the refractive index of water with respect to the air. So the next important topic is the critical angle and the total internal reflection. So let us consider 3 cases, 1, 2 and 3. So in the first case, and in each of the cases, let the ray of light be travelling from a denser medium to the rarer medium. Okay. So now we know that whenever a ray of light passing from one medium is incident at the refracting surface, here in this case rarer to denser, instead of going in a straight line, it will bend away from the normal. So we also know that with the increase in the angle of incident, the angle of refraction also increases. So if you go on increasing the angle of incident, the angle of refraction will go on increasing. Now for the certain value of angle of incident, that is I is equals to IC. Okay. So whenever for a certain value of the angle of incident, so this ray will, the refracted ray will pass along the line separating the two medium. That is the angle of refraction here, it becomes 90 degree. So in that case, the angle of incident is known as a critical angle. So what is it? So the critical angle is the angle of incident in a denser medium corresponding to which the angle of refraction in a rarer medium is 90 degree. So now if I further increase the angle of incident, what happens? This ray, instead of going or passing into the other medium, it will bend back or the return back into the same medium, like in the third case here. In this case, the angle of incident is greater than the critical angle IC. So in that case, instead of passing through the line separating the two mediums, the ray of light will be totally reflected back into the denser medium. That is known as a total internal reflection. So how can we define a total internal reflection? So the total internal reflection is a phenomenon in which a ray of light traveling in a denser medium is incident at the refracting surface with the angle greater than the critical angle for the pair of medium, and the ray of light is completely reflected back into the denser medium. So that is known as a total internal reflection. So now there are two very important conditions for the total internal reflection to occur. The first one being the ray of light must travel from the denser medium to the rarer medium. Okay, so the ray of light, it must travel from a denser medium to the rare medium. And second case is, in this case the angle of incident I must be greater than the critical angle for the pair of medium. Okay, so that is what is the total internal reflection. So now we will be studying the application of total internal reflection in case of few prisms, the right angle isosceles prism and few more. Let us see what can we obtain using the equilateral triangle or a right angle isosceles prism. So using the right angle isosceles prism, we can carry out three things. The first one is we can deviate a ray of light by 90 degree, and the second one, we can also deviate a ray of light by 180 degree, and the third application is using the right angle isosceles prism, we can also erect a inverted image. Okay, so let us see one by one how to draw the ray diagram. So the first case I draw, if I want to deviate a ray of light by 90 degree, I draw a right angle isosceles prism. One of the angle is 90, so the other two remaining will be 45 and then the 45. Also remember that the critical angle IC for the glass and air is 42 degree. Okay. So now to deviate a ray of light by 90 degree, I make the ray of light incident in the face AB normally. So when it is incident normally, we know that the ray of light does not bend. So it will go and it strikes the surface AC. So there I draw one normal. So this is already 90. So what will be the angle of incident here? So if this is 90, this is 45, this also will be 45. And thus the angle of incident is 45, which is greater than the critical angle, that is 42 degree. So in this case the ray of light will be totally reflected back into the denser medium. Here in this case it's the glass. Okay, so it reflects back with the angle of reflection as 45 degree. So at the other surface, so if this is 45, the other angle also is 45, and this becomes 90 degree. So the ray of light emerges out without any deviation. So if you see, the total deviation produced here is the 45 plus 45, that is equals to 90 degree. So in this way we can deviate a ray of light using a right angle isosceles prism by 90 degree. So now let us see how can we deviate a ray of light by 180 degree. So in that case I draw a prism in this way. Okay, so this being 90 degree, this being 45 and 45. Okay, so if I want to deviate it by 180 degree, A, B, C, I make a ray of light incident normally on the face AC, or not AC, sorry, CB. So in that case the ray of light will pass without any deviation. Here I draw one normal, so this is 90, this is 45, this also becomes 45. So therefore the angle of incident here, it becomes 45, which is again greater than the critical angle 42 degree. So in that case the ray of light will be totally reflected back into the glass this way. So now this angle is 45, means the remaining also is 45, this is already 90. So if I draw one normal here, so this angle also becomes 45. So the total is 90, means this angle also becomes 45 degree, which is again greater than the critical angle. So the ray of light will follow the law of reflection, and the ray of light will be reflected back with the angle of reflection as 45 degree, and then the ray of light passes here normally, so without any deviation. So we see that the ray of light was going upward, now it is coming downward. That means the ray of light is deviated by 180 degrees. And then finally the last one, how to make a ray diagram to erect an inverted image. So in that case also I draw one right angle isosceles prism in this manner. Okay, so A, B and C. So this is 90, this is 45, this is 45. So I draw one inverted image. Okay, so inverted arrow denotes the inverted image. So in this case I draw two rays, one from the base side and one from the head side. Okay, so in this case I draw one normal here. Okay, so now when the ray of light is passing from a rare to denser medium, instead of going in a straight line, it will bend towards its base. So here it bends toward the base. Both the ray of light bends, sorry, not toward the base, towards the normal. So here the incident ray is incident at an angle greater than 42 degree, which is here the 45. So in this case the ray of light will be totally reflected into the same medium, that is the glass. Okay, so it gets reflected back in this way. So here what happens is the incident ray, the angle of incident will be lesser than the critical angle. In that case the ray of light will bend away from the normal. Okay, so thus the ray of light bends downward. So now trace it out, which ray is coming from which part of the image. So if I see the lower ray, okay, so I go back, I follow path back, I see that the lower one is coming from the upper part. So here will be the tail and the upper part will be the head. So in this way we can erect an inverted image using a right angle isosceles prism. So this is also the application of total internal reflection. So now the reflection, one of the important point here is what is the advantage of total internal reflection. Okay, so using this principle, that is the total internal reflection, the 100% or the 100% intensity of light is reflected back. So thus there is no dissipation of energy. So in this case the image form will be the brighter one compared to the image formed by a plane mirror. So this is the end of your chapter. So I'll send you the notes regarding this chapter. If you have any problem, you can ask me in my WhatsApp number. Thank you.